Welcome to Easter 2024 and Rotherham United. My team are not relegated yet. Oh God, it's bad being a Rotherham fan. But we're gonna forget that, guys. Yeah, please forget it. We're actually gonna look through the Championship, and for once we've got a Friday full set of fixtures, rather than one on Friday and several on Saturday. We are going to start with our 12:30 game, which is Bristol City versus Leicester City. I may be back. I may be back shortly after this. If anybody wants to have a quick look at this, and you look at your watch and you think, hell, it's nearly 12:30. I wouldn't mind having a quick watch along. I'm going to be following that over the Bet365 link, so it'll be we'll be listening to it most likely, as it's got Sky Sports. We'll be listening to it. If Bet365 have it on their video list, I've not looked yet. I may even have it on video. So we will be going through that possibly and doing a quick watch along of Bristol City at Leicester City. So without further ado, let's look at Bristol City versus Leicester City, because it's been an interesting time for both of these teams, and I can't help thinking that I'm going to go with Bristol City first. There's certain things I want to say about Leicester City, and I'll just keep them for later. I think it's important that they are said. Bristol City, up, down. How many times are poor fans? They win against good teams and lose against utter garbage. And you're thinking, I mean, a number of times I've been on in like 2020 when COVID was on. We were listening to I used to listen to the Blue Monday broadcast, and it was brilliant. And a number of times we got Bristol City fans in doing on his watch-alongs that he used to have. I say, bloody hell, we played really well last week, and now we're playing crap. Is it just Bristol City? Well, one week, utter garbage the next. And Swansea are playing really quite well. They've been up and down, but they played really well. And yet Bristol City won them 1-0. And let's face it, Bristol City went away to Ipswich and lost 3-2. I think Rotherham went there and lost 4-3 just before or just after. So they're actually quite a difficult side to to play Ipswich. Most of the time they play absolutely excellent, and they can put balls away, they can put goals away free flowing, aren't they? But they played really well against them. And then they lose against Sheffield Wednesday 2-1, and they lose against QPR 1-0. And QPR was at home. So what have they done? They've done, out of the last 6 games, they have lost 5 and won 1. Not boding well. The last home game they won against Swansea. But Leicester City, here we go, guys. Now, Leicester City doing really well. People started to realise that Rotherham lost 2 against them. But we were really unlucky not to get points in both games, because if you high press them, and at the points where we high pressed them, they just went into recall and disappeared. They don't play well against high press, and I found that with the Chelsea game, they were really as soon as Chelsea started high pressing them and not giving them respect, they suddenly just went straight through them like butter. Their back line was so high that straight once you're through, that's it. You're away on goal. And at least 2 of those 4 goals that Chelsea scored were just the fact that Chelsea were high pressing and Leicester's back line is naturally forward. So they naturally pulled it back. I'll give them that. They realised that was an issue against Chelsea and pulled it back. Started to get back in the game, then pushed it forward again and got obliterated. But that's the problem with them. High press, they don't do very well. Leeds, high press, 3-1 defeat. QPR, high press. They have been doing a lot of high press in QPR, and they lost against QPR 2-1 at home. They've actually lost 3 out of their, well, we can't count the Chelsea game, so they've actually lost 2 out of their last 5 games, drawn 1 and won 2. It's very mediocre, and it's mediocre because people have found out they can high press them and get results. Having said that, Bristol City are one of those sides that I don't expect to score many. And Leicester City can certainly score multiple goals. But can Bristol City manage to push a high press? Then I come to the point that I think needs saying. Looking at the Blue Monday, if you ever listen to Blue Monday podcast, he always says, he's an Ipswich fan, he always says, look, it's not what's on the pitch that relegates sides, it's what's off the pitch. Leicester City at the minute are fighting against having a points deduction when they go up to the Premiership, and they will. That appears to have made, I think the thought of that coming has made a bit of an indentation in their abilities. 2-2 away at Hull. That's not them. That's not the Leicester City I know. And certainly not the Leicester City from the beginning of the season. I'm going to say this is going to be a draw, and I'm going to say 1-1. And the reason is I'm going to say that I believe the off-field antics of Leicester are going to just have people. The players aren't going to be up to 100%. They're going to be about 90%, and they're going to be thinking, next year starting off from like minus 4 or 5 points is going to be a pain in the arse because we've still got to rebuild the squad and start playing together and be on negative points. And I think that's going to be quite a push, quite a difficult task for them. So I'm going to say that Bristol City, because they're at home, because they won their last home game, I think that they can high press. And I think they will. At home, they'll do well. It's probably a 50-50 toss of the coin and sort of is it heads or tails. But I'm going to go with a 1-1. I think if anybody scores first, it will have to be Bristol City. If it's Leicester City, less likely that Bristol City will come back. But I think that, mind you, they did badly in the second half against Rotherham when they high pressed. So I'll probably retract that bit because I know that Leicester can actually still collapse as soon as you do high press. So I'll stick with the 1-1. There you go, Millwall versus West Brom, our first 1 o'clock. So we got this at 1 o'clock. So again, a little bit earlier. We have Leeds defeat for Millwall last time out against away to Leeds, 2-0. 3 wins, 2 defeats, and a draw against Blackburn. And Blackburn aren't that great. They're not playing brilliantly. Sheffield Wednesday, they got beaten against Sheffield Wednesday at home, 2-0. And they're not playing that great. Very, very brutal team. I think they got the most red cards of the entire EFL, I think. Well, they're one of the top 2. Win against Birmingham, win against Watford, win against Southampton 2-1. That's impressive. Away as well. Again, another team that's like they were really good at home. You can never beat them at home. The Den was like, I don't even think about trying to play well there. You just put 10 at the back and hope that they don't beat you. And then last year they played well away and not well at home. And this year they seem to be a bit of a mix. I mean, certainly here it's away defeat, home win, away draw, home win, away win, home defeat. So it's they're a little bit like Bristol City at the minute. They're up and down. They'll play well against Southampton and then they'll lose against Sheffield Wednesday and then win against Southampton. That's the sort of thing they're doing. Capable of scoring 1 or 2 goals in most games. Pretty decent side. I don't have any problems with them being a championship club. They are an average championship club. West Brom, the side that I actually thought would do badly this year. I thought they'd be in the bottom 6 or 7. And they actually changed me totally. Where are they at the minute? They're actually 5th. And I apologise. I got them totally wrong. They made no attempts to sign people for God knows how many months. They had 0. They were the last team to sign anyone during the summer. And it was like, are they going to do anything this year? Because last year's squad wasn't brilliant. And they've done really well. They haven't lost one in the last 6. They've drawn 2, won 4. They can score 2, 3 quite easily, I think, against Millwall. I'm going to go with, because West Brom are just far too consistent at the minute. And I think the inconsistencies of Millwall may just be their downfall. Even though they're at home, I think I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to West Brom. So now we're down to the 3 o'clock games. Cardiff versus Sunderland. There you go for the Cardiff versus Sunderland. Now, we have to look at this in a certain way. Cardiff, at one point, were thinking, we're mid-table, we're not going to get anywhere. Yeah, we've lost too many. We can't realistically get back into that challenging for the top 6. They're now 7 points away from Norwich with 8 games left. It's just about doable. Not only that, but they lost away at Swansea the last time out. But before that, they've had 4 straight wins and a draw against Blackburn. So it's been 4 wins, a draw, and a defeat. If they can get back into winning formation and get that winning attitude back, they would be so bloody close to getting into that sixth slot. And when you think it's at the minute it's Norwich, who I on 61, God knows how, but they've not been playing very well. I would say that's possible. So they've got their tails up. They're playing well. They somehow didn't do well against Swansea, but anything happens in derbies. You can't go into a derby and say, the Premiership team's going to beat their derby rivals who are in League One. I don't know if there is one, but for instance, you wouldn't, you can't, because derbies are unique in their makeup. Sunderland, what has happened? Last time out 0-0 at home to QPR, but QPR are playing high press football and trying to keep that back line really solid and really a little bit further forward, but robust. And they're trying to pull back to that back line and then play from that back line, which is actually a little bit higher than some may expect. So they did well against them, to be quite honest. But defeats against Southampton, Leicester, Norwich, Swansea, Birmingham. You may say, okay, Southampton you would expect, wouldn't you? Yeah, they're Leicester you might expect, yeah. And well, Norwich are in the top 6, so perhaps you would expect that. But they're not playing that well, so I would have. But they lost against Swansea. They're up and down. I suppose you could say they played them on a bad day or their good day. Birmingham may go down this year. They lost away to Birmingham 2-1. They're not playing well. At the end of the day, they're playing garbage. They played garbage against us and still won. I think Cardiff's tails are up and they are ready to fight and try and get that 6th slot. Can they do it? I personally don't think they will. But there is a chance. There is a chance that sheer grit and grind will get them through. And Cardiff are a team whose fans will drag them. They'll drag that extra ounce out of them. They're at home, Cardiff. I'm going to say it's going to be, looking at the numbers, I'm going to say it's going to be Cardiff 2, Sunderland 0. Another interesting one, Huddersfield versus Coventry. So Coventry in 8th, Huddersfield in 22nd, equal with Birmingham. Huddersfield last time out 0-0 against Rotherham, at Rotherham, which they must have really been hacked off at not getting 3 points. They got slaughtered 4-1 at home to West Brom. 1-0 defeat at Cardiff. They won 2-1 at Watford. But Huddersfield are a poor side and they can play. They play on the burst, so they play down. They'll just soak up as much as they can, and then they'll play on the attack. They'll just sort of suddenly burst through your defence and score at the most ridiculous point in time. So they're definitely that sort of team to sit back and wait for their opportunity. But Coventry have been doing really well. A 3-2 win against Wolves, if you saw that. I thought, I don't like Coventry fans because of the way they were sort of last year when we stayed up. the Coventry fans that were on the internet were all saying, "Oh yeah, Rotherham is going to lose. It's just a case by how many." And we stayed up, and we didn't always lose. Um, and it was like if you go onto any of their fan sites, it was always, "Oh, Rotherham's going to lose. Oh, Rotherham's going to lose." We would never have won a game if you went with their fans' predictions. But I happen to think that they're playing good football, and on that game, Wolves were just. I think one it touched his face, his legs collapsed, and he went to the floor, and I think the Coventry did the same thing, but Wolves did it more. And just collapsing when somebody touches your shoulder is not valid, and you shouldn't get a free kick from it. And most of the time, the ref saw it and just carried on playing. And I remember thinking, Coventry deserve to win this. It'll be a travesty if Wolves equalise, and they went ahead, and it's like just totally unfair. And I thought, they did well to win, and I think they deserved to win it. And then you got the 5-0 trouncing of Rotherham at home, a win against Watford, a win against Maidstone 5-0. With a defeat against West Brom in the middle, 2-1 at home, is really away, which is really weird. But they can score freely. They've suddenly got their scoring mojo out against a side that's going to high press. But they're not very good at high press. Coventry aren't very good at high press. If they were good at high press, I'd be saying 4-0. I'm still going to go with Coventry, but I'm going to go with a 3-2. I just think that Huddersfield will hit them on the break at least once, possibly twice. I'm going to go with a Coventry win, but I'm going to go 3-2. Hull City versus Stoke. This really is one of those games that Hull City have to win to stay up there. Stoke should be okay. They've won 2 of their last 6 games, which at 1 point a game would see them easily safe. So Stoke aren't really. They're sort of as at the beach as they can be. I really think Stoke are at the beach. They're on the beach, and I think they know that really. I think there's a lot of pushing and moving around of players to try and see what it's going to be like next year's guys, and I think the supporters know that. On the other hand, you've got Hull City who've drawn their last 4 games and won the previous 2. So you'd expect a draw with the statistics, but I think that Hull City will win this one 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0. I think that they'll just manage to get ahead and keep it. Norwich City versus Plymouth. Plymouth have not been too good away from home. In fact, the last away game was a draw against Blackburn, defeat away at Sheffield Wednesday, and before that, the away game was Borough, where they won 2-0 away. So they they can play really well away from home, but then they put in 1 or 2 really bad performances, and it tends to be followed by a really good one. Just looking at Norwich's, see Norwich 4-1 win at home against Cardiff, 5-0 win against Rotherham, 3-0 win against Stoke. They've actually scored 8 goals in the last 2 games. They can easily score 3. and they're at home. Why not? Why not? 3 goals for 4 for Norwich. I'm going to be a total. I'm going to sit on the fence. I just can't see. I think. Oh, I don't know. So I nearly crumbled there. I'm thinking Plymouth could just produce one of those performances that take them out and beyond. They're actually they're in the same position as Stoke, same points. You know, they're almost as good as on the beach as you can get. And I'm just worried that they're on the beach. They know they're on the beach. They know they're safe against a side that's wanting damn well to keep that 6th slot. I'm going to go Norwich 3, Plymouth 1. I'm going to stick with the Norwich win. I just think that Plymouth are now starting to teeter a little bit, falter a little bit, and that is going to be a difficult game.
Something to bring sunshine to your day. Now's the best time to book for this summer. Escape to sunny Vegas.
Right, so we're away.
Turkey and
1,
Portugal
2.
with award-winning VIP customer
Now let's just look at this carefully, guys. Rotherham haven't won away for 2 years. If I look at these last 6 in 1, 2, 3, our last 4 games, we have let in 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 goals in our last 4 away games. 4 goals per game average. The only game we didn't let, the only away game we didn't let too many in was QPR 2, Rotherham 1. So I think the chances are that we're going to let in at least 4. Can Preston score 4? I don't think they can. And they I mean, if I look at the Plymouth game, Liam Miller scored on 43 minutes for them. But if we look at the stats, I'm pretty sure. No. They actually do get them on target. So it's 9 shots, 4 on target. So they don't actually shoot. There's not many shots per game then. So let's choose one of the others. Let's choose one where they won, Coventry. So Preston, away to Coventry, they win. 10 shots in the game, 3 on target. So they're not massively. The conversion rate's quite not that bad, but the actual converting a shot onto a shot on target is not that brilliant. You need to be making sure you get at least half or more of your shots on target to really make sure you get a couple of goals per game. That's gone cold. Yeah. Cold coffee, not a good idea. So I think that Preston will be lucky to get. I mean, let's say it's against Rotherham and they're at home. They should be into the sort of 20 shots on goal. And I just can't see them getting any more than about 8 or 9 on target. And Rotherham's goal is the best in the league. I think you're going to be talking. They could get 3 goals. So my head is saying Preston North End 3, Rotherham 0. What's my heart saying? Obviously, Rotherham fan, you're always going to support your own team. I reckon we might just not have anything to lose, and we'll be playing for the first time this year. Well, second time this year, we'll play decent football, and we'll come out and we'll get a 1-1 draw. I think we could come out with a 1-1 draw. 2 games without a defeat. Yes. Oh God. But yeah, I think it's more likely to be a Preston win by 3-0. So we go to the next. It is the next one, isn't it? Yeah, QPR versus Birmingham. Battle of the bottom, guys. This is a battle of the bottom. QPR have won 3, but one of them was against Rotherham, and drawn 2 and lost 1. So they're not actually losing. And they only lost home against Borough. So, good team. On the other hand, Birmingham, well, they only lost 1-0 against Borough, Birmingham. But they've lost 5 out of their last 6, drawn 1, won 0. I think that they're in the doldrums and that they should be getting out of this by now. I said back when they played Hull and Millwall, they should be coming out of this. They should be coming out of this. My prediction videos kept saying they must come out of this. They'll finish 18th. They always do. QPR 2, Birmingham 0. I just can't see them getting out of it. Sheffield Wednesday versus Swansea City. This is actually going to be a lot more difficult than you think. They lost 6-0 to Ipswich, but when Sheffield go behind, they collapse. And Leeds should have beaten them by more than 2-0. Absolutely. That should have been 4 or 5-0. But Leeds stepped back and just didn't attack and won 2-0. 4 wins, but 1 was against Rotherham, and that was only 1-0. And at Rotherham. And 2 defeats. So technically, slightly better performance over the last 6. But those last 2 must have taken a bit of a toll. They really must. And they didn't play that well in their win against Plymouth, the last win of theirs. So has that given them a bit of a battering? They've also got at least one red carded player, haven't they? So I think, let's see who it was. I can't remember. Who it was? I'm sure they got a red card at some point. When's a red card, guys? Perhaps not. I felt sure they got a red card. I don't seem to be able to get any red cards. No. I thought they got a red card. Doesn't seem to make any. I felt sure that Sheffield Wednesday had a red carded player, but no, it's not. In that case, they got a full complement. And they're playing a Swansea side that's up and down. I mean, to lose against Bristol City away, that's not usual. 3 wins, 1 draw, 2 defeats. Defeat against Ipswich, a defeat against Bristol. They're away at a side that's just letting 8 goals in 2 games. Swansea used to be they could score every game and easily score 1 or 2 goals. So 2 or 3 is probably used to be pretty easy for them. I think that Swansea are going to win. I think Swansea are going to win 3. I'm going to go with a boring 2-1 win to Swansea.
Travelling around South Hampshire and the Isle of Wight.
So we've got Southampton versus Borough. Probably a little bit easier this because it's a battle of the abilities. They've both got the abilities. They can both do really well. Southampton tend to throw themselves on the floor and try and get penalties, whereas Middlesbrough try and grind out the win from the back and really try and just get ahead and then try and keep it. Will that work against Southampton? No, I don't think it will. So although we've got they've had 2 wins in a row, Southampton, 3-4 away at Birmingham and 4-2 at home to Sunderland. But if you add those up, that's 7 goals in the last 2 games. 1 home, 1 away. They've scored 8, but they've let in 5. So their back line used to be garbage at the beginning of the season, and at the end of the Premiership it was. I mean, their last game was 4-4 with Liverpool. So their back line was garbage. They then shored it up very well for half the season, for more than half the season, and now it seems to have rocked again, and they do seem to be. I mean, certainly in the last 5, they've let in 2, 3, 3, 2, 2. So they're letting in goals now quite regular. Dares I say 2-2 draw, and I think I'm going to say 2-2 draw. Purely because I would have said a Southampton win, but I just don't like their back line. I think their back line has crumbled. Blackburn versus Ipswich. 3 draws in the last 3. Oh my God! 5 draws in the last 6 and 1 defeat for Blackburn. Ipswich, 6-0 win last time out against Sheffield Wednesday. They tend to either score a bloody bucket load because they've got the best front line. I think they've got the best front line in the league. I really do. And options on the bench. So I think that if Blackburn high press Ipswich, they can actually do well. Ipswich won at home to Rotherham 4-3. See, Rotherham high pressed them. They should have won that. 95th minute, Rotherham equalised. And they scored a minute later to win it. Well, you high press them, they let goals in. But I don't think Blackburn are going to do it. I don't think Blackburn aren't the high pressing type of football team. I'm going to go with Blackburn 0. Can't see them scoring. Blackburn 0. It's either 0 or 1. I'm going to go Blackburn 0 and Ipswich 3. I've already forgot Watford. Last game, Watford versus Leeds. Watford versus Leeds as we go into 12 o'clock. Leeds United have been playing really well. Won the last 3 games. They've won Leicester 3-1 at home. So what can you say? They've come true in the last third of the season. 4 wins out of their last 6, 1 defeat, 1 draw. Watford, very mediocre. You get what you see with them. They've been an average team. Away at Rotherham, they won 1-0. They weren't great. They weren't bad. They were sort of average, playing a pretty crap Rotherham team. should really be winning more than 1-0. Huddersfield, they lost against 2-1, and they're a poor Championship team. 2 wins, 3 defeats, 1 draw says it all to me. I think it's going to be a 2-0 win to Leeds United. So that's my interpretation of the scores today. It took a little bit longer than usual. I think that certainly the interesting thing will be the bottom. I think with if Birmingham, I mean, who do we say for Birmingham and Huddersfield? It's basically Birmingham and Huddersfield. Birmingham against QPR, I think we'll QPR are quite capable of winning there. Huddersfield are away at Coventry, and they should be losing that, which means that my team, Rotherham, won't actually get relegated. I don't think they can get relegated today. So if Rotherham lose, as we expect, we'll be on 20. 21st position will be still Birmingham on 39. They'll be 19 points ahead with 7 games with 21 points left to obtain. So 1 win and we're down. Well, yeah, one win and we're down because 19, 20, yeah, because we'd have to win every single one, 21, to get 21 points. As soon as they win one, we're down. So after this game. So should they win, they would be on 42 points. They'd be 22 points. Oh, no, well, we would be down. Yeah, we would be down, wouldn't we, by 1 point? So if they win, if Birmingham or Huddersfield win, and we lose, we would be 22 points behind. Oh, no, there's 8 games left. No, we are there. Yeah, there's 7 games left. So yeah, we'd be 7 games left. So we'd be 21 points. We'd be able to get 21 points, but they'd be 22 points ahead. So we could go down today. We could go down, but Birmingham or Huddersfield would have to win. I can't see that. So let's see if we get relegated before Easter Day, or the day after Easter Day. Well, it's only football, as my wife would say. Let's call it a day, and we shall see people, I think, for the Leicester City away at Bristol City. Let's see if Bristol can actually high press Leicester, because if they high press them, they might be able to do something. But I'm not confident that they can. But there again, Leicester City have got lots of things happening off pitch that are quite likely to affect the game on the pitch. It's going to be a really interesting game. If anybody does listen to this, please do come along and have a chat. I'm going to probably post it just so people can see it. And we'll see you at about 20 past 12, which is in another 20 minutes. See you later.